Adverse possession is gaining the actual title to property adverse to the claim of someone else who believes they would have title to the property, or just straight out adverse to the actual owner of the property. Florida historically had a common law mechanism for gaining adverse possession of property, which at common law was a much longer period. It was originally 20 years. They dialed it down to 10 years. Going back about 20 years ago, the Florida legislature actually codified adverse possession law into two different statutes. There's no longer any common law adverse possession. Those two statutes are 95.16 and 95.18. Under point 16, there's a mechanism for gaining adverse possession if you have color of title, meaning you have some documentary right that says you own this property, and yet someone else would also have documentary claim to that property. Adverse possession requires 7 years of holding that property adverse to the other person, which means cultivating or improving it, fully enclosing it, harvesting timber from it, those type of things that are clearly adverse to the claim of someone else owning that property. Under point 18, you would have no documentary interest in the property, but you can still gain adverse possession of the property. But under that statute, there's a very specific mechanism that must be followed. You must pay the taxes on that property for 7 years. You must tender the property ownership back on the property appraiser's website. There's a very specific procedure that must be followed, and using the assistance of an attorney in that process would certainly be advisable in order for you to make sure you seal those rights in place. Any question of adverse possession is highly fact intensive, and consulting with an attorney on that issue is really necessary in order to determine whether or not you may have a claim of adverse possession.